Greetings, friends. Michael Bowman from Vertical Works here. Today's short message is really simply about Node and Angular and Express and maybe Mongo. Something called the mean stack. Anyway, really what the message is about is if you're on the .NET side of the fence and you've been coding .NET and you've been waiting for Visual Studio 2015 to come out, that's cool. I get that. Same here. But a little over a year ago, a friend of mine challenged me to really get into Node. And I did. And I got to say, Node is hands down more efficient at stuff on the server. Why? Because it does everything in an async fashion. I mean, that's what it's built for. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can screw it up and short circuit it and implode it. But if you do it right and you take advantage of the runtime and what it's built to do, your Node apps, your JavaScript apps, which are running on the server, they're not consuming very many resources. We're talking a process and a thread. And if you have 8 cores, logical cores, you can actually run a process and a thread on each core and do a little load balancing. But, as requests come in, it can balance here, go there, right? But essentially, it's one process, one thread, and it can handle huge amounts of users. How? Because it does stuff like Angular does with a deferred, a promise, an async callback, basically. So you call a function, and sure, the function returns, but instead of waiting 50 seconds for that function to open a database connection and read this and write that, it's doing async stuff. So it's not blocked. It calls that function, you pass in callback functions in those arguments. The function returns immediately when things are ready to go. Those things will happen, get called. Meanwhile, you're not blocked, right? The only time Node gets blocked is when you're the only time Node gets blocked is when you're executing like var, my object equals require some file. It's reading it in. That's going to be a block. But other than that, once you're up and running and it's cached everything and it's just doing calls and it's executing functions with callbacks, it's like that. And it's, it could take a long time to get done what you want done, but that process and thread aren't going to be blocked. That's what I'm saying. And also, it's consuming very little resources. It's really an efficient engine, folks. Anyway, I digress. Compare and contrast Node to .NET, IIS, the FCL and .NET, and you'll see that, they both have great features, but there's a lot going for Node. Open source, free, gazillions of contributors, a great community of people. If your next app was written on the mean stack, you basically couldn't do any better, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, if you're on the .NET side of the fence, come over. You really need to come over. It's time. Now, I know Visual Studio 2015 is out, and everyone's like, ooh, and it's got great integration with TypeScript and all that. I mean, Visual Studio 2015 is killer, right? So is Visual Studio 2013. Killer. I get that. But, if you don't have $6,000 to spend on the MSDN Ultimate subscription, you can fire up WebStorm, buy it for $60 or so, and you got a fantastic environment to run Node and JavaScript and get stuff built. I mean, you really do, folks. That's all. I just wanted to make this video and kind of, plant my flag and say that Node is not a bad thing and we don't have to be 100% .NET shop. Node is killer. The mean stack is killer, and you really owe it yourselves to look into it because it's here and it's not going anywhere, right? Anyway, this is Michael. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, mbowman@verticalworks.com. Keep coding. Have a great day. Bye-bye.